Episode 220. Just as the Moon Emperor's heart churned with extreme unease and a foreboding sense of doom, a surge of powerful spiritual chi suddenly erupted from the multicolored light beneath him, sending a chill down his spine. He quickly tightened his grip on the black blade, and the blood light around him abruptly spun faster. In an instant, he was enveloped by a crimson whirlwind, shielding him completely from any attack. Then, two more surges of spiritual pressure, equally formidable, erupted from below. A moment later, amidst a droning hum, the glow below split apart, revealing a circular passage roughly 10 feet in diameter. In an instant, countless small green rulers swarmed out of the passage, forming a surging green torrent that surged straight toward the Moon Emperor. This was the Green Ruler Talisman treasure that Han Li had successfully activated. As the swarm of rulers drew near, a fiery red small sword and a golden yellow orb shot out one after another. The moment they left the passage, they transformed, one swelling to an immense size, the other emitting a blinding yellow light. Driven by Chen Xiaochen and Zhong Weiniang, the two talisman treasures split left and right, silently flanking their target. Witnessing this, the Moon Sovereign within the blood wind turned pale with fury. He wildly swung the black blood-mad blade in his hand, and instantly 7 or 8 massive blade beams shot forth consecutively, meeting the swarm of green rulers head-on. In a series of sharp, crackling explosions, most of the small green rulers were shattered. Below, Han Li, who was controlling the talisman, felt his face go pale. The spiritual connection meant he suffered the backlash as well.
This blood blade's power is unexpectedly formidable. Good thing I don't have to meet it head-on.
As for the Moon Emperor now, he was merely putting up a desperate struggle. Even with the blade light blocking the way, the remaining azure ruler swarm, along with the red miniature sword and yellow golden orb behind it, seized the opportunity to fly before the blood wind and plunged into it without hesitation. Then, within the scarlet pillar of blood wind, all kinds of shrill howls erupted as cyan, red, and yellow light burst forth unceasingly, locked in a stalemate with the black radiance. Clearly, the struggle within was just as fierce. Suddenly, a furious roar erupted from within. With a shattering sound, the black light and the yellow-red glow both flickered violently. Then the 3-colored radiance vanished completely from the bloodlight. Meanwhile, Chen Xiaoqin and Zhong Weiniang, seated beside Han Li, had their faces turn ashen, their expressions drained of all vitality.
Junior Sister Chen, are you both all right?
No. That blood saber was eerily sinister. It managed to force my talisman treasure and senior sister Zhong's into mutual destruction. Now we'll see if Junior Han's talisman treasure can finish him off.
Chen Xiaochen pulled 2 blue pills from her robe, swallowed one, and tossed the other to Zhong Weiniang.
Both junior sisters lost their talisman treasures?
That's right. I suspect that demon blade of theirs might be a fragment of some magic treasure.
A magic treasure fragment? How is that possible?
Just then, a deafening explosion erupted from within, rolling and rumbling endlessly overhead, startling the group into looking up. Through the faint haze of twilight, the battlefield erupted in a blinding clash of azure and crimson light. Moments later, the bloodlight rapidly diminished, completely swallowed by the cyan radiance within his body. Then, all the light gradually faded, revealing the Blood Emperor standing bolt upright. His face was a mask of utter bewilderment. His lips twitched once, and then he shattered like porcelain, his entire body collapsing into a heap of gore that plummeted straight down, only to be gently caught by the rainbow light above the crowd. Seeing this, Han Li's fellow disciples erupted in ecstatic joy. "Junior Han, you killed that demon? I knew you could do it. Ha 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 ha."
I had to release the talisman treasure's remaining power all at once to break through that blood light. Otherwise, we'd probably still be locked in a stalemate.
Truth be told, the technique for drawing out a talisman treasure's power on this scale isn't something just anyone can pull off. And this was a bit of insight Han Li had only gained after using and seeing so many different talisman treasures.
This was a formidable way to subdue an enemy. He had greatly reduced the number of times he could use the talisman, but its power had increased significantly. Against certain powerful foes, it was exceptionally effective.
In truth, Han Li had only figured this out a few days ago. He never expected that using it so unexpectedly would wipe out the already weakened enemy in a single blow. Of course, those talisman treasures had also exhausted their energy, turning to ash. But by now, Han Li's mind was already fixed on the blood condensation 5 elements pill. He brushed off Song Meng with a few words, then, without hesitation, released 2 puppet beasts and made a beeline for the Moon Emperor's corpse. The others paid it no mind. After all, the enemy had been taken down almost single-handedly by Han Li, so the spoils naturally belonged to him. As for Zhong Wenyang, now that her beloved's vengeance had been exacted, a trace of joy finally returned to her face.
Junior brother Han, thank you. If senior brother Lu and the others can know from the underworld, they will surely be grateful that you avenged them.
Ah, senior apprentice sister, no need to thank me. You all should head back to the palace and search every corner. See if any Black Fiend cult remnants are still lurking inside. I need to tidy up here and dismantle the formation.
Hearing Han Li's words, the others from Yellow Maple Valley immediately understood his intent. This was clearly giving them the chance to loot the Black Cult's headquarters. Song Meng immediately broke into a wide grin. Chen Chaochen and the other 2 felt a bit embarrassed.
Once I've packed up, I'll meet up with you, and the Black Fiend cult leader should have plenty of good stuff on him too that should more than make up for it.
Hearing that, the others found it reasonable and stopped refusing. After all, today's battle had really cost them dearly. So, once Han Li released the grand formation, the others took to the air and flew away. Once they were out of sight, Han Li finally relaxed. He raised a hand to the 2 puppet beasts above, and they flew back to his side, each carrying something they had retrieved. Han Li spotted the 5 blood coagulation pills at a glance, and a surge of delight washed over him. He immediately took them from the puppet beast's mouth and carefully inspected them. From the immense spiritual energy contained within the pill, Han Li could confirm it was genuine. Only then did he feel at ease. He took a restricted jade box from his storage pouch and carefully put away the 5 pills.
Though he didn't know the exact effects of the blood coagulation 5 elements pill, seeing how delighted the Moon Emperor was with it, the little prince's claim that it could aid in core formation was likely true.
Next, Han Li turned his gaze to the other items, a pitch-black alms bowl, a blood-red awl no larger than an inch, and a jade slip radiating a pale ashen light. Looking at these items, Han Li felt a chill run down his spine.
These items are clearly magic tools meant for demonic and heretical cultivators. There might even be restrictions or curses on them. I need to be careful.
So instead of rushing to handle them, Han Li took a slow breath. A faint light shimmered around his hands, and he wrapped the items in a thin layer of azure glow. Only then did Han Li feel confident enough to pick up the jade slip and probe it with his spiritual sense. Aside from the slightly eerie aura it gave off, the jade slip really didn't seem to have any restrictions on it. Han Li let out a relieved breath, then slowly extended his spiritual sense inward. The moment his spiritual sense entered the jade slip, Han Li stood frozen in place. His expression shifted strangely, one moment brimming with delight, the next utterly crestfallen. Finally, it settled into extreme caution, tinged with a rarely seen flicker of fear. It took him the space of a full cup of tea to withdraw his spiritual sense, yet he remained frozen in place, lost in thought. The contents of the jade slip were both within his expectations and somewhat beyond them.
The jade slip indeed recorded the techniques of the Black Fiend sect's members. The little prince cultivated the black fiend Asura art, the four blood servants practiced the demon fiend art, and Moon Sovereign cultivated the blood-refining divine light, among others. But all of their techniques seem to originate from a single scripture called the Yin scripture.
Han Li, driven by curiosity, flipped through the jade slip in a hurry, but found no trace of the related scripture. With no other choice, Han Li abandoned that hope and turned his attention to some of the more bizarre secret arts outside the main cultivation method. Several of them delighted Han Li at first glance. They resolved some of his most perplexing doubts, and more importantly, they revealed the true purpose of the blood coagulation 5 elements pill. Han Li calmed himself and read on carefully.
So this blood condensation 5 elements pill was something only cultivators who practiced the demon subduing art could condense within their bodies, something akin to a demon beast's inner core. This was the primary purpose for creating the blood demon art, and the reason the 4 blood warriors could transform into blood fiends and reach foundation establishment without taking a foundation establishment pill was precisely because they had formed this pill. But according to the description of the demon subduing art, even without using the blood sacrifice technique, the very nature of this cultivation method's rapid advancement means they'll never form a core in this lifetime. Foundation establishment is the highest level their techniques can reach.
In truth, the demon-slaying art was no exception. All of these techniques shared the same fatal flaw. None of them could ever reach the core formation stage. Of course, with their cultivation speed boosted by the blood sacrifice technique, the results were nothing short of astonishing. The blood coagulation 5 elements pill seemed designed specifically to compensate for the flaws in this type of cultivation method. And now we come to a secret technique recorded on the jade slip, the false core art. According to this secret art, even the most talentless late-stage foundation establishment cultivator, as long as they consumed the blood coagulation 5 elements pill as instructed, would have a 1 in 3 chance of forming a pseudo-core, a fiend core similar to that of a core formation cultivator. When this fiend core first forms, its power falls slightly short of a true golden core, but it's not far off, and it grants the same life-extending effects. When Han Li saw this, his heart nearly leaped out of his chest.
A 1 in 3 chance of forming a core? This blood coagulation 5 elements pill is just too heaven-defying.
He felt an overwhelming urge to grab those 5 pills and swallow them on the spot. However, the flaw of the demon core mentioned later in this secret art left Han Li stunned. It said that since a nascent soul was, after all, a man-made golden core once formed, it had no possibility of growing any larger. This meant that this cultivator's cultivation would never advance another inch, forever stuck at the early core formation stage. If that were all there was to it, Han Li still wouldn't have passed up this shortcut.
The 3 revolutions heavy Yuan art's triple dispersion as a method for condensing a golden core. It's simply too tortuous, too remote a possibility. And even if I did disperse my cultivation 3 times, I could still fail to form the core. After all, it's just a theory. But this blood core art is different. Someone must have tried it long ago. A 1 in 3 chance. That temptation is just too great for me. As for being unable to advance to nascent soul after forming a demonic core, that was still far too distant a concern for me. After all, the nascent soul stage is something I only let myself dream about at night. For me right now, forming my core is the highest goal. As for whether I dare to hope for forming a nascent soul after core formation, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.